Good morning, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the third part of our national webinar series to celebrate the 75 years of Indian independence, Amrit Mahotsav. Today, we have amongst us two people, very eminent people from the army background and from the naval, Lieutenant General Ashwini Siwatch and Rear Admiral Sanjeev Srivastava. Sir, Delhi School of Journalism started in 2017. So we are very young. Our first batch graduated in 2020. At present, we have 500 to 600 students. And we are first postgraduate batch will do their graduation in 2022. So we are placed in University of Delhi and we are with University of Delhi. And we have about 82 guest faculty who are also, some of them are present here, and we teach all possible fields of journalism. So we have students who are budding journalists who are present as audience and would like to hear your views and your experiences. Now I would request Chirag to introduce our first speaker, Lieutenant General Ashwini Siwatch. Chirag.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello, am I? Okay, okay. ऐ मेरी ज़मीं अफसोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए सौ दर्द सहे महफूज रहे तेरी आन सदा चाहे जान मेरी ये रहे ना रहे. With this high josh, the Indian Armed Forces are protecting the integrity of our nation for decades and decades. And it's a matter of pleasure for us to have Major General Ashuni Siwatch sir among us. After serving for over 37 years, Major General Ashuni Siwatch ji retired from Indian Army in September 2014. He is alumni of Staff College Wellington and Long Defense Management Course, Secunderabad. He has also attended Advanced Security Course on Terrorism at Asia Pacific Security Studies in Hawaii in the USA. General has a long experience of serving in counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency environment both in Jammu and Kashmir and Northeast. He commanded the operational brigade on the line of control in Kashmir Valley and was awarded by SM for eliminating a record number of terrorists and for his professionalism in handling war-type situations. He was Chief of Staff of Corps in Ladakh deployed against China and Pakistan. He headed Territorial Army for 2.5 years and was successful in taking the organization to a new height. After retirement, he is participating in various discussions as a defense and strategic analyst in a number of national and international TV channels. He is also a member of the Global Counter-Terrorism Council, that is, we heartily welcome you here, and I request you to address the webinar now. Of the Global Counter-Terrorism
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are hearable.
Okay, because there was some echo coming when Chirag was speaking. I hope it is not there now.
You are hearable.
Okay, because there was some echo coming when Chirag was speaking. I hope it is not there now.
No, sir, it is not there now, sir, not there now.
No, but it is coming. It is being fed to me again. Whatever I am speaking, it is coming back to me.
Ma'am, the voice is coming from
I think Yogi ma'am needs to mute herself.
Again, whatever I am speaking, it is coming back to me.
Ma'am, I guess someone's microphone is on.
To mute herself.
Again, whatever I am speaking, it is coming back to me.
I think now it's better.
Is it okay now?
Switch off your mics, all of you.
Okay, so we started as far as today's basically the main issue is Bharat Azadi Amrut Mahotsav, our army, our pride. I will not only cover the Indian Army, I will cover the complete Indian Defence Forces. There is no denying the fact that Indian Defence Forces is the pride of the nation. They are the strength of the nation. They are not only the military strength, but also the economy strength of the nation. And they represent the nation in a very powerful manner in the world phenomenon. As far as Indian Army is concerned, it is about 12 lakhs. Most modern, one of the most modern army of the world. It is almost a third largest army after US and China. It has basically participated in number of operations after India has got independence and done extremely well. Today we have the best of the weapon system, which we feel proud of it. Be it the anti-tank guns or the tanks or the artillery or the air defense system, these are the state of art. We are deployed all around the country, especially in the northern border, which is starting from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh, and also in the western border, which is against Pakistan, starting from Rajasthan to Jammu and Kashmir. I'll first touch upon what is the problem of ours, which is going as on today with China, because that will be of some interest to most of the candidates. Now, as far as China is concerned, you know it, that in last year, in a month of April and May, the China came along with its 2 mechanized brigade and 1 armored brigade in our area of Ladakh. And to start with, it surprised India, but in a very short time, India managed to thereafter deploy its forces against China within about 1 month. And after 1 month, we were better deployed than the Chinese. And on August 28, 29 of last year, Indian forces did an offensive maneuver, which will be known in time to come. And we occupied there the heights which no one could have thought can be taken over. And that surprised Chinese. And then the problem started is that the Chinese were then forced to also withdraw, and they agreed on a withdrawal plan. We had before that, if you remember, Galwan, wherein there was a hand-to-hand fight which has taken place between Indian soldiers and the Chinese. We lost almost about 20 brave soldiers. They sacrificed for the nation. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese, the PLA lost more than 100. Now, it was a raw courage of Indian Army troops that they could display their physical prowess on Chinese and inflicted the heaviest casualty which can be possible. And after that, the Chinese were rattled. Chinese realized it, that India is not what it was in 1962. The Indian armed forces are modernized. They are changed over for a period of time. The morale is very high. And the result was, we start finding it, the Chinese soldiers were not ready to fight against India. They were not battle hardened. They have not stayed in heights, and they wanted to go back. Whereas the Indian troops were more equipped, more trained, more motivated. We have fought so many wars, not only against Pakistan and China, but also fighting a counter-terrorism even in Jammu and Kashmir and Northeast. And hence, we could stay in those heights longer. We could fight on those heights. And we had an experience of Siwatch Glacier, also of other area of Ladakh. I have been in these areas myself. I have served there, and I understand the difficulties, but the Indian Army is capable of staying in these areas. And that has completely rattled the PLA, and they start realizing it. They have made a blunder and they wanted to compromise with India. And hence, the negotiations started off, and you can now imagine that already we have withdrew from one of the sector, which was Pangangso. They have withdrawn from north of Pangangso, that is from figure 8, 4 to figure 8, and we have vacated the Kalas range. The Kalas range is the range which we have occupied on by offensive maneuver on 27, 28. And now the talks are going for their further going back, especially from Gogra and Hot Spring. Gogra, they have gone back, and Hot Spring. And another question is about Dapsang. Now, Dapsang is where Indian Army want the Chinese to go back to pre-April 2020 position. And there the problem is coming because the Chinese feel that in case they withdraw, Indian army will able to hit their western highway, which is going from Xinjiang to Lhasa. And that's how they came almost about 7 to 8 kilometers toward the west on the 1959 claim line to give depth to this highway as well to Aksai chain. However, if the Chinese stay where they are, they get a strategic advantage because they can directly address Nubra Valley and Saichen Glacier by bypassing our Daulat Beg Oldie garrison. So therefore, that is very important that we force them to go back. And remember, as far as India is concerned, in that area, we have built up number of roads, tracks, and the road which we constructed was basically going from Darbuk Shok and Daulat Beg Oldie, which was one of the most difficult road to be constructed in Indian Army and Indian forces constructed it in reporter. So the point today is that negotiations are going on between India and China, and we are pushing them back so that they go back to prior April 2020 position. But Indian Army is very well prepared for all the adversarial situation, not only in Ladakh, but also in the central sector and also in Arunachal Pradesh. We have developed our infrastructure and capacity building. We were slow after independence. Almost about 40 years, we did not pay that much attention. The reason basically was that the resources were less. And now the government is aware of this. Government has given up the maximum support, and due to which our infrastructure and capacity in the border area has increased tremendously, and we can now almost match with the capacity of the Chinese. So that is a very important point. Now, as far as China is concerned, they have a big problem there that their airfields are at higher heights compared to India. Indian basically airfields are lower height, can carry more payload. And Indian Air Force is much more modernized than the Chinese Air Force because we have got Sukhoi 30 MKI, Mirage 2000, MiG-29, Jaguar, and Apache attack helicopter. And after we have got Rafale from France, our situation has considerably changed and our air power has increased manifold. And that is what is also rattling China. China knows it, that we have a stronger air power. The J-17 which they talk is their stealth aircraft, actually not time tested, whereas Rafale has taken part in Syria, Libya, and also in Somalia. So therefore, it is a time tested. So air power of India is much stronger. Now comes the Navy. As far as the Navy against the China is concerned, you can imagine that today we are one of the most modern Navy, and we have now constructed our own aircraft carrier, basically INS Vikrant, which is almost ready, which will come into, is already come in the sea trial and will be launched next year. We have INS Vikramaditya, which is aircraft carrier, along with our fleet of submarines and also other frigates. We have a capability of choking Malacca state. As you are aware that Malacca state is where almost 70 to 80% of the trade as well as the oil of the China goes. So we have a capacity to block that, and that the China knows it. And therefore the China understand that if there is a war between Indian forces will go all out, not only in Ladakh and to Arunachal Pradesh, that Indian army is very well prepared. It is the air power which has an edge over the PLA air power, and also our Navy has a capability of choking the China's trade as well as the oil going toward the mainland from Gulf countries by basically blocking Malacca state. So this is very much known to China. At the same time, to counter China's hegemony, we have also participated and become a member of the Quad. As you are aware of it, the Quad has got 4 members. One is US, India, Japan, and Australia. And the Quad has nothing to do specifically against China, which it keeps on talking, because it basically is on three principles. That is freedom of navigation, rule-based international order, and following, basically territorial integrity and sovereignty of all nations, including smaller islands. As you are aware that China is trying to do expansionism not only in Ladakh but also in South China Sea, where it has a problem with not only one country, with almost 7 to 8, Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan, and also with Japan in East China Sea, especially in Senkaku Island. So as far as China is concerned, it is not specific to India only. It is having problem with number of countries. South China Sea, East China Sea, it is having a problem with its, Hong Kong, where it has brought a new security law. It is having a problem in Tibet, where it is creating human rights violation, and especially in Uyghur Muslims, which are there in Xinjiang. So China is a force to reckon in time to come. It is a big challenge for India, and we have to watch out. But as of today, we have handled China problem very well. And after once we have joined the Quad and doing naval exercise with other three partners, China is on a defensive. Now, as far as China is concerned, we are very well geared up. As far as Pakistan is concerned, we have to understand Pakistan is now an aberration. It is no more a conventional power wherein it can threaten India as far as the conventional warfare is concerned. But remember that Pakistan is also a nuclear state. So we have to be very careful on that. Now, as far as Pakistan is concerned, economically, it is in a very bad state. It basically, their economy is so bad, they have a loan of $120 billion. And their foreign reserve is almost about $6 to $7 billion. Even, it was less than Afghanistan before Afghanistan was under the, US. And it cannot look after its import more than 1 month. So it is in a financial crisis. It is already put on a grey list by Financial Action Task Force. So today, as far as the conventional warfare is concerned, Pakistan does not stand anywhere compared to India. India economy is almost 10 times. Indian population is 6 to 7 times greater than Pakistan. But Pakistan believes in doing something else, that is terrorism. So Pakistan, to counter our, conventional superiority, it is making use of terrorism as a state instrument. And that is what it is doing. Not only now, it is doing for almost about 30 years. What they are doing is, the Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed are well trained and motivated in Pakistan, and then they sent to Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, in Jammu and Kashmir, we are handling them well. Our counter-infiltration grid is very strong, very stable. And in case the terrorists manage to come in, we managed to kill them in another 2-3 months. The situation in Jammu and Kashmir is quite stable. And in fact, there are about 200 terrorists which are left. In case our all-out operation carries on like this, within about 2 years, we'll be able to sort out complete terrorism from Jammu and Kashmir. As it is after abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is looking very bright. The democracy has come at a grassroots level, especially by doing a panchayat election and district development council election. Tourism is in record time. The investment has started off. The hotels are being coming up. The universities have been opened. So today, Jammu and Kashmir is, one can say, that is on a road track of development. So that's a very good thing, what's happening in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the problem which is everything has surprised everyone is the development which have taken place recently in Afghanistan. Now, that has surprised, majority of the pundits in the world. Now, that is going to make a tremendous impact on India and Indian defense forces and our economic, interest in Afghanistan. As you are aware, as far as Afghanistan is concerned, we have invested almost $3 billion. We are the country which has made a parliament there. We are the country which we have made a Salma Dam, which even gave power to Kabul. We have made hospital, we have made bridges, we have made schools, and we have made a railway track. And out of that, 37 projects were still going. There were about 400 to 500. Our engineer technicians are still stuck in Afghanistan. They could not be evacuated because they were not in Kabul. They are spread all over the Afghanistan. So as far as our investment is concerned, it is very huge. So our interest is quite a bit in Afghanistan. And also remember that we have invested about $1.8 billion in Chaba. That is the port which we are basically developing in Iran. And this is a route which bypass Pakistan, goes from Iran to Afghanistan, go to Central Asian state, then join the North-South transport corridor and connecting with Eastern Europe and Russia. And this is called an economic corridor, which is very much required by India. And that's why it becomes very important. Now, once the Taliban government is going to come in Afghanistan, which is now certain, possibly they are going to announce the government today, how do we go ahead with as far as Afghanistan is concerned with the Taliban? So our concerns are these three. One is that ensuring our people who are there, they can be brought back safely. And second thing is, how do we look after the interest of this $3 billion our investment? Our project should carry on. And the next is our interest in Chaba. So Afghanistan is very close to our heart. We want that our relationship with whichever government comes, possibly Taliban, when it comes, we must able to open some sort of contact. As on today, we are following a policy of wait and watch, because we don't want to sort of recognize a government of Taliban if it is not inclusive. It will only be recognized if it is recognized by other countries, and also that it is following a principle of inclusiveness. So that is where it is wait and watch. But however, the point which we have to remember is Afghanistan can be unstable. Afghanistan can be a problem in the whole region. And if there is a civil war type situation with Islamic State, Khorasan also trying to excite its own basis, what can happen is that about 10 to 15,000 those Lashkar-e-Toba jaise Mohammed terrorists which have gone to Afghanistan fighting along with Taliban against the Afghan forces are available now, and they can be pumped into Jammu and Kashmir, and they are equipped with the modern assault rifle M4, M16, which were left over by America and which are available now, which they can bring. So having said so, this new challenge has come. The terrorism will take a flip, not only in India, all over, because after Taliban has taken over, everyone feels that the terrorism has got a push. Every terrorist group is thinking that they have a chance of success. That point has to be taken into consideration. But as far as India is concerned, we are well prepared, and we can rest assured that in case these 10 to 15,000 terrorists try to come to Jammu and Kashmir, we will take care of them. Our counter-infiltration and counter-terrorism grid are very strong. So as far as this is concerned, we will take care. But we have to make sure that we remain relevant in Afghanistan. So our policy has to be, you can say, very realistic. And in time to come, we have to ensure that we cooperate with Iran, we cooperate with Russia, we cooperate with US, and make sure that we are relevant in this region. So having said that, as far as Afghanistan is concerned, it's a wait and watch policy. It is to see as to what sort of inclusive government is formed by Afghanistan. And remember, as far as Afghanistan, Taliban is concerned, they have no choice but to make an inclusive government, because financially they don't have money. You know, America has already blocked their $9.2 billion, which was reserved. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, the Taliban requires $6 to $8 billion per year to just run the government. Earlier, this aid was given by US. Now it is not available. Therefore, it needs a sort of loan from the world institution like World Bank, IMF, Asian Development Bank, and European Development Bank. But these financial institutions are unlikely to give any loan to the Afghanistan till they make an inclusive government. So there is a pressure on Afghanistan to make an inclusive and also a government which is recognized by majority of the country. If it is not recognized, they will have a tough time. You will find a civil war type of situation because no loan will be given except the China. Because China is coming in a big way in Afghanistan. I just want to touch upon that. That may sort of some interest to majority of us. That China have a lot of interest in Afghanistan. Between China and Afghanistan, Taliban, it is a win-win situation because Afghanistan don't have money. They need investment. They need infrastructure. It is only China which has a deep pockets can come and invest. So therefore, China is seeing an opportunity. China opportunity is that there are $3 trillion resources which are there in Afghanistan, which are unexploited till now. These are in terms of minerals like copper, zinc, silver, iron, gas, coal, as well as lithium, which is used in battery and which is a next generation fuel. So they want to come and exploit that. At the same time, China want to increase its Belt Road of Initiative. It wants that China-Pakistan economic corridor should be taken from Pakistan to Afghanistan, then to Iran, and then to Mediterranean. So China is looking that there is an opportunity, so that's why they come. Their only concern was that they have spoken with Taliban, and Taliban has given them assurance that the Islamic movement which is there in Xinjiang province will not be given by flip by East Turkestan Islamic movement. So therefore, that sort of assurance is given by China, by Taliban, and hence the China will come in a big way in Afghanistan, and that is the cause of concern. As far as Pakistan is concerned, I think Pakistan thought that they have brought the Taliban into power, and Taliban is going to listen to them as to whatever they will dictate. To me, it looks like that Pakistan will be for a root show, because immediately after forming a government, you'll find slowly and steadily the relation between Taliban and Pakistan will not be the same as it is which were now. The reasons are obvious. Taliban Pakistan, which is basically a terrorist group in Pakistan, is very close to Afghan Taliban, and this will now terrorist activity will increase in Pakistan 3 to 4 fold, and having this, there will be a big issue of peace and tranquility in Pakistan. Second thing is that Balochistan Liberation Army will also start pressurizing, and the genuine freedom struggle which is taking place will also get energized. Same in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, that a tribal area where Pashtuns are there. They do not recry, do not lie, and they also want to join Afghanistan, and their militancy activity will start. And also, Taliban Pakistan want Sharia law. The way it is coming in Afghanistan, which will come, is Pakistan prepared for that? That's another thing. 15 to 20 lakhs refugee may also come from Afghanistan to Pakistan, and Pakistan is in no position to take care of them, especially their financial condition is very weak. So in time to come, Pakistan will have a tough time, and Pakistan has played a very negative role. Pakistan is a part of a problem, not part of solution. So overall, our situation in this region is going to be volatile. With Islamic State Khorasan also merging, we as Indians have to be very careful, especially in our southern portion, especially Kerala, where there are module and sleeper cell. There are some people who have joined Islamic State Khorasan from there. We have to be vigilant. Islamic State Khorasan wants a caliphate, and it is the most dangerous terrorist organization in the world. That can also increase its footprints, especially in South Asia and Southeast Asia. So that point where we have to be guarded. So overall, what I want to just convey that Indian Defence Forces are well prepared for any contingency in any future, and we are progressing. We are the pride of the nation. We represent the nation, and not only that, we represent all the religion of the nation. It is one institution which has got a concept of MMGC. It means it has a mandir, it has a masjid, it has gurdwara, it has got a church under the same roof. So we follow that principle. So this principle sent a principle of unity and tolerance to our all Indian brothers. So that is how Indian Defence Forces are. Today they are well geared up and they will protect the interest of the nation always and every time. Here I finish. I ask now the question anyone want to ask me. I will be ready to reply.
Sir, I want to ask a question.
Thank you, sir. No question we'll take at the end. We'll take at the end after the second speaker. Please note your questions. And after the second speaker is spoken, please raise your hands and you can ask your question to whichever speaker you want to ask. Now I request Aprajita from our MA final batch to welcome and introduce Rear Admiral Sanjeev Srivastava. Aprajita.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. It is a great honor to have amongst us Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, retired as Rear Admiral in the Indian Navy. Having completed his schooling from Mumbai, he went on to pursue mechanical engineering from NIT Karnataka. Immediately on completion of graduation from NIT in 1984, he took up a campus placement offer for a job in air conditioning with Messrs. Bartley Boy in Mumbai. Sir then joined the Indian Navy in the Marine Engineering branch in 1985, where during the course of initial training, he qualified for selection and joined the Corps of Naval Architects. Subsequently, he underwent conversion to basic naval architecture at Indian Naval Ship Vishwakarma, which was then known as Shipwright School, Vishakhapatnam. Later on, he did his post-graduation in warship design and construction from IIT Delhi. Going further, Sir served in Naval Dockyard, Mumbai, where he was responsible for refit of submarines. While in Mumbai, he was selected for a prestigious 3-year submarine design specialization course at Russian Naval Academy in St. Petersburg, Russia. Post his specialization, Sir took up a hands-on assignment in submarine design in the Directorate of Naval Design. He has been a part of this design team in all ranks from lieutenant onwards through 7 odd levels of functional responsibility. Additionally, he has been the head of Shipwright School as well as the Chief Dock Master or Manager Dry Docks in Naval Dockyard, Vishakhapatnam. Sir was promoted to flag rank in 2014 and he retired as the Director General of Submarine Design Group in 2019. Finally, upon retirement, he took up consultative work in advisory capacity with DRDO as DRDO Fellow. On behalf of Delhi School of Journalism, I would like to invite you, sir, to address the gathering with your words of wisdom.
Ms. Nair, thank you very much. I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, General Siwatch, Dr. Manaswini Yogi, OSD of the school, Dr. Dheeraj Rai, faculty member, and this very bright audience. Very good morning to all of you and my warm greetings. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually very proud and privileged to be here and sharing the platform with General Siwatch, who's such a well-known authority on geopolitics and strategy. So when I was thinking of what I should be writing, I was wondering whether strategy is the right subject to choose, because I know he's the expert, and I think earlier General Bakshi also would have joined, and they are the people who would tell you much more and in much greater depth about geopolitics than I would be able to tell you, and they are the right people. So I cast my net a little wider. I thought, what is it that you as students of journalism should know about the armed forces, which will help you in your careers later on? You know, the role or the position that armed forces occupies in our collective consciousness arises from many socio-economic and socio-political conditions. And I thought I would look at these and perhaps deconstruct the perspective in which armed forces are seen by the country. Basically break them down into certain factors, which you might find useful in your careers later on. The first thing that strikes me, and strikes me quite hard, is that both the journalist and the soldier are playing very complementary roles in nation building. Okay, as journalists, you are the custodians of truth, and if I may so, keepers of the nation's conscience. The soldier guards the border, ensures peace, and provides and facilitates for prosperity. And if you look at it, whenever these two instruments of nationhood break down, it invariably leads to chaos. I will talk about it a little later, but just to remind you of a recent incident, what happened in US when the Trump government was to hand over. Do you remember those visuals? Do you remember what was written, what was happening? Even a country with 250 years of experience can break down when the instruments of nationhood start breaking down. You know, maybe it was those 200 years of independence and solidity behind it which saved the nation, but it was very close to turning into chaos. So both of us, I think the armed forces and the media have a very complementary role to play. And for a nation which is just 75 years old, I think we are doing a good job. But remember that throughout these 75 years of independence, if the armed forces have been the nation's pride, and it has been the nation's pride for all law-abiding citizens. Their uniform has always drawn respect, but never fear. I say this to highlight one aspect. In some ways, Admiral Siwatch was referring to it when talking about Afghanistan. You recall the number of countries which gained freedom around the same time that India gained freedom. Subcontinent, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, any number of countries around the same time. 70, 80 years, you'll find a whole lot of countries became independent. But what you will notice is that in most cases, the armed forces of those countries have precipitated major constitutional and humanitarian crisis. Governments have been overthrown, there have been coups, there have been atrocities by the armed forces, even genocide in some cases. And there are some extreme cases where the armed forces have indulged in criminal activities, illegal activities. Now you measure the Indian armed forces against this backdrop, and you will realize what I'm getting at. Indian armed forces today is the most impartial, the most apolitical, and binding factor in our nation building. And if we respect our armed forces, perhaps this is one of the reasons. This is the ethos which I say is at the heart and at the bottom of what we all feel for the armed forces. And all this in a country which has got such religious, social, economic, and cultural diversity. If I were not an Indian, I was a foreigner, not an armed forces member, let me tell you, I would be actually in awe and hold this aspect in some wonder. So that's one of the reasons why not only nationally but internationally, as Admiral Siwatch had said, the Indian armed forces are respected globally for their professionalism, for their innovativeness, and their unprejudiced and principled conduct. It is no surprise that they are the United Nations' first choice when it comes to peacekeeping anywhere in the world. And any number of times you have seen Indian peacekeeping forces, rather the Indian Army, mostly the Indian Army, is selected ahead of any other armed forces for peacekeeping. All this is that at the bottom of it lies this professional and apolitical ethos of the armed forces. Soon, when all you students graduate from the school and pass beyond the portals to engage in your professional duties, many of you from time to time will come across stories that concern armed forces or some security issues. So I thought, let me give you a little more of this perspective, not only just vis-a-vis security, but also in the largest and the broader socio-economic and socio-political context. Admiral Siwatch has, of course, given us a very, very lucid and in-depth overview on the security situation. I won't. There's nothing much I can add, except one fact I would like to mention. When we became independent, and since we are talking in the context of our 75 years of independence, remember the Indian armed forces were fairly weak at that point of time. They were left behind with what you call the stump of the armed forces that the British had. We had very little in terms of hardware. We had little in terms of personnel, very little in terms of money. But from that to have grown now into a globally competitive, a globally recognized armed forces is a testimony, and not only to the military leadership, but also to the political leadership. Every time it has faced a challenge, the Indian armed forces have come out stronger. Every time. Despite serious budgetary constraints, India's inherent economic weakness, the initial weak industrial base, of course, it's much better now. Very low expenditure on R&D. We are today not only to be reckoned with in terms of firepower, but also in terms of a technological edge that we are gaining and fast improving. And remember that despite the hostile neighborhood that we live in and its consequent security challenges, India has not weakened one bit in these 75 years, neither economically, nor diplomatically, nor militarily. Even if you're not a student of military history, if you cast your mind back, I think the turning point for the Indian Armed Forces is 1971. I beg General Siwatch pardon for saying, or speaking on something which probably he's an authority. But I think from 71 onwards, if you track, the Bangladesh War, I think was a milestone in military history. Not very few operations have been done in such a decisive manner, where the war has actually turned out to be conclusive. It has given you the planned dividends that you wanted. It has partly settled a long-standing problem for us. Similarly, there was Kargil. Again, we may have been caught by surprise, but we sorted it out. You've heard of these 2-3 surgical strikes that have happened, and Balakot and Uri. Again, something that has caught not only the imagination of the public, but also caught the attention of the adversary. China, General Siwatch spoke at length about it. I think we gave them a bloody nose. So all this has happened with these armed forces because of the time and effort it has invested in training, in building its own capability, without getting distracted by any other scenario in the country. There are people who say, why should we spend on the armed forces? And this is one of the socio-economic point I wanted to make. This is nothing productive about the armed forces. Why spend money on it? And believe me, I've heard it enough. And from people I thought who should know better. But nothing is further from the truth. A weak military nation will not remain a nation very long. All your land, all your resources are prey to your neighbors, whether they are friends or whether they are foes. Even the best of your friends will feed off you if your military is not strong. May I put it to you that expenditure on military or ensuring deterrent military force is actually a key social investment. Much like building a road, building an airport, there is an actual return in terms of economic gain for a nation which has a strong military. Whenever you analyze a story or whenever you pick up a thread in your future jobs where such debates are being, try and weigh what the expenditure on military gets you. Imagine, all this, China happened, or what kind of neighbors we have. Where would I been today with in terms of national progress? Because we had a strong military, we have reached the moon, literally. If you had a weak military, you would have had no sphere of technological or social development. You would have been left behind. either we would have been fighting each other or continuously fighting a war which nobody wins. Deterrence means that guy doesn't want to engage. A strong military is a must for social development. Another key aspect of the security which doesn't get always mentioned, I think, is the deployment on internal security duties, and newscasters, news reporters cover a lot of it. Be it Northeast, or be it Kashmir, or the Maoist belt. Certainly, from the armed forces point of view, I would say it's not a very desirable duty. One doesn't want to engage in picking up arms against your own countrymen. But it is to the credit of the army and the armed forces that they have done this job with a lot of elan and competence, and have never been considered to be partisan. It's not the armed forces' job to sort out political imbroglios, but they've done it, and done it to the with rare sense of duty. And I think this too gets generally, this aspect gets left out many times, but I would like to just bring it to your notice. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy duty. It's not an easy responsibility. A lot of maturity and sensitivity to social regional issues has to be built into the system for the armed forces to take on this kind of a job. There's one important thing also about the armed forces that I would like you to understand, and that is combat duty, and all that is connected in ensuring combat is without doubt one of the most demanding jobs that one can do in this country, or for that matter anywhere. Therefore, the men and the women who face or support combat have to meet certain requisite standards, be it physical, medical, psychological, academic, or some such other standard. But the point that I want to make is when you select people, when you deploy them, there is no room for compromise. And that is one of the reasons why the armed forces follow a completely merit-based system, with seniority also as one of the differentiators. So the code of conduct demanded of an officer is actually very exemplary. Its internal systems of corrective actions in case of violations of conduct or regulations are very swift, and let me tell you, even harsh. There is absolutely no other institution in the country which can make this claim or even come anywhere near close to it. We have been very fortunate thus far that our national leadership have upheld the best of the armed forces traditions and ensured that the armed forces remain apolitical and are not politicized. The other thing which I thought, when you cover a lot of stories, you must also remember that the service conditions for military personnel has always been challenging, and in more ways than one. The initial selection criteria are pretty tough, and throughout their career, they will continue to face progressively tougher promotion norms. The promotion rates in the armed forces is very low. There is a reason for it. There's a good reasons for it. I mean, I'm not getting into that, but the fact is the promotion rates are very low. Any other service, if you take, the promotion rates are astronomical if you compare it to the armed forces. And the retirement age in any other service, you can go up to 60. Here, the other ranks, they will retire somewhere between 40 and 45. Officers will start retiring at 52, 54. Now look at a situation where a chap is retiring in midlife, and he also has to work. He's going out into the civil street to look for a job at age where his skill sets are probably not aligned to what the market wants. His age is against him. So in this kind of a scenario, definitely the powers that we have to see that there are enabling factors for people who retire at such junctures in their life. There should be what I want to say, that there should be enablers for them to take on and carry on with their lives in their second innings. Working conditions in the field areas are also very difficult, and great deal of separation from the families are there. A lot of movement from one station to the other. All this armed forces personnel take it in their stride, and most of these tribulations and hardships are shared by the families. So for those who think that the few perks that the armed forces gets are generous, I would only like to tell them, come and change places and then we'll talk. Because I do at times see articles in the media, etc., criticizing or quoting somebody who's criticizing some perk being given to the armed forces officers. It's very little that you are doing to offset the trials and the tribulations. Because you see, all said and done, the soldier or the and his family are part of the same social fabric and the same society that we are in, and they also will have similar aspirations like you have. It's no different. So he must also have a adequate opportunity to fulfill those aspirations after giving such service to the nation. I think, I won't speak too much more about this, but maybe some other time. I also wanted to touch upon two more things. One is how the changing dynamics in the country is also changing in the armed forces. Maybe when I was a kid, in the school, etc., we are all prone to thinking that the armed forces gets its officers only from a particular strata of the society. They do not, they do not come from everywhere. That only certain kind of families or certain segments of the society provide the armed forces. It is not true now. It is a very surprising fact, and when you look at it, and this is not just the armed forces, it is like this in every aspect of our nation, whether it is civil services, whether it is the corporate industry. A farmer's son, a laborer's son can aspire to touch the sky. So today also you have people coming from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, for joining the forces. But what is good about the forces? It wheels them into one single unit. For the team, for the armed forces, the team comes above the individual. The same individual, if he were to join a corporate, you will find him to be conducting himself entirely differently if he were to join the armed forces. And this is one of the ethos. When we see the armed forces and we say we take pride, we measure them, we put them on a pedestal. It's one of the reasons, again, is this: the culture of team building, of putting a team ahead of everything. And I think if there is one of the lessons that say the rest of the country can learn from the armed forces, it is this: the team ahead of everybody else. There are no individuals. There are individuals. People have their own personal ambitions. People have their aspirations, but that does not mean it will be at the cost of the organization. And this culture is so deeply ingrained that sometimes those who are in the armed forces don't see it for themselves. They take it for granted. You feel it is aisa hi hota hai. But when you're outside and looking in, then you see this, you see this and you realize the difference. So I thought you just note this, because when you deal with these stories, when you deal with this kind of situations, perhaps this at the back of your mind will simplify some of the things that you want to understand. The other thing, which I keep frequently seeing in the media and is about women joining the armed forces. At times, the media reports or the both visual as well as print media sometimes tend to indicate as if there is some organizational bias against women. It is not so. The problem does not lie that in having women on the team. I have served with many women officers. There were a bunch of them serving with me right from the. I mean, I've trained also, and let me tell you, there are some women officers I would choose to be on my team ahead of the male officers because they are simply good. Problem doesn't lie there. Problem lies in the way. Well, let me take a example of a ship or a submarine, and I think you will understand. What in a ship, fresh water routine is say twice in a day, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. You can't at sea. You can't keep consuming your fresh water. You carry only some certain amount of it. Okay, say 10 minutes in the morning. I'm just giving you an example. Some good big ships, it is slightly better. But on a smaller ship, it will be something like that, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. You've got 100 people on board. There are 2 bathrooms. All right, you put 2 lady officers there. You reserve 1 bathroom for them. What are the other 100 people going to do? So such practical problems have to be solved. Armed forces are taking cognizance of this. Our designs are incorporating those features. And as you go along, you will definitely see more deeper participation of women officers. Air Forces already has its combat pilots, and I think very soon you'll see. It's not that the women officers don't sail; they do sail, but for long deployments of 200 days, ships go out for 200 days at times. It's very difficult to make the logistic arrangements for this. But those times are coming. I think the necessary preparatory work is being done. There will be design changes. There will be accommodation changes, and it's all being not only talked about, it's all being implemented. So you'll see all that. So the idea that somehow women are not welcome is wrong. Women are very much welcome. Anybody who can deliver is welcome. So, and women officers, I can tell you from my personal experience, I've always been treated with the same brush that all of us get treated with. No difference. There is one more perhaps thing I thought I would talk about, and that is since I come from a technical background, I thought I would tell you about. That is on the technological angle in the armed forces. Again, this is something that doesn't normally get covered in such lectures. Now you see, it is almost 150 years since the Industrial Revolution. We missed the bus. We didn't even know where the bus stop was. It came, it went, it left us behind. Now the interesting thing is, all new technologies that have emerged in the last, say about 100, 150 years, have come through innovation in military technology. This internet on which we are talking, you would be surprised. It is a product of military technology. Almost everything that you rely upon today, you work with, that you take it for granted, has its origin somewhere in the military technology. But India was not in this position. Our military R&D was infant at the time of independence. In fact, it didn't exist. It was set up with some great foresight by Mr. Krishna Menon. It takes a long time to develop technology. If you're a little interested, I can tell you one fact. It takes a long time for the technology to be developed, and it takes very short time for that technology to become obsolete in military context. So it's a big challenge. You must be really developing something today which you need 15 years later or 20 years later. The scientific research has to be done for it now. Development for that has to be done 5 years later, so that 20 years later you have a product which is cutting edge and ahead of what your adversaries have. Now we struggled with this, and that is why India for a very long time was a net importer and a major importer of armed force. It's a big brain Okay, fortunately, we have 650 billion foreign reserves today, but it was not so always. And buying equipment from abroad had always strained our, not only our pocket, it had strained our economy in many other ways. But what interesting thing that you see now, and I'm sure many of you will cover stories connected with this, is a major shift. This Atmanirbhar that we are talking about, actually, I think will really start or is beginning to take off in the defense sector. This is an exciting time where you will see new technologies coming up. DRDO is working on a large number of technologies. But believe me, I mean, to get one successful product, you end up with failure on at least five products before you can get one product going. And if you are to succeed, you have to persevere. Perseverance comes at a cost of both money as well as time. It has taken us this long to catch up, but that we are catching up is now evident. I follow these channels a little more closely. Perhaps you don't, but if you were to look around, you will realize suddenly we are now making aircrafts, helicopters. We are looking to export missiles, and I think in missile technology we have caught up already, and maybe another 8-10 years we may be the leaders in the world. So that is a pace at which the technology is now progressing indigenously, and the indigenous and the striving for this indigenous this thing is, to me, not only an exciting story, it's a very necessary aspect. You cannot be dependent on anybody for military technology. It's the most foolish thing. Nobody parts with military technology. They'll sell it to you, but they'll not tell you how to do it. So this investment is something I think as you go along and as you see and you report it, you will find that this thought will resonate with you. How long it has taken to develop. A lot of criticism on certain programs. The LCA, for example, people say it has taken so long. Do you know that LCA program developed all major technologies from scratch? It first developed those technologies, put them together, and then flew the aircraft. That aircraft, touch wood, it has not one single case of accident in 6,000 sorties. Every new fighter aircraft that is developed has had a crash or a major accident in its first few sorties. To do this, and then you see all other programs when you talk of the Russian aircraft or the European or Eurofighter or Rafale for that matter, they all took off from a ready-made foundation of technology. There was a jet engine which was available, maybe it had to be improved a little bit. There was a weapon available, it had to be adapted to some new platform, but those were already available. We started with nothing. So if you ask me, the LCA program, if you compare, is perhaps not bad, may even be better than some of the other programs in the world. The only thing, we are looking at it from a different prism. We are not looking at what actually was done for the whole program. But just if you take LCA, okay, everything else was ready and now the LCA program starts, it is only about 10-12 years. It is comparable to the best. So I only mention this because sometimes you see the media reports and you also read the same thing that I read. And the impression that you get is, we are dragging our feet. The R&D organizations are not doing their job. It is not so. And it has now come to a stage where you see the Air Force, it is ready, not only ready, it is looking forward to receiving Indian manufactured aircraft. And it is they who are now hurrying and pushing the industry to deliver it faster. Same thing with the Army. I mean, so many new products and very important, I would say, important systems are being inducted, indigenous important systems that are being now inducted by the Army. Navy has been doing it for a very long time. It doesn't mean to say that you should not import anything. If let us say there is a particular type of a system which you need only 2 or 3 or 5, why waste time developing it, investing in infrastructure, etc., for producing them? You might as well buy them if you have a reliable supplier. This is not the case to say that you should make everything 100%, but critical military technologies have to be indigenous, and that is one of the messages I thought I would put across to you, because there will be many interesting stories in the years to come, and all you young bright fellows will cover many of them. With that, Dr. Manaswini, I will sign off, but just before I do that, I would like to acknowledge the sacrifices so many of our soldiers over the years, the hardships of their families, and do remember them in your spare time on the right occasions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We have our honorary director, Professor J.P. Dubey has joined. So he'll be speaking, Professor J.P. Dubey there. He'll be speaking after we take some questions. So the students from faculty, whoever wants to ask a question may raise their hand. I can see Ayush Jain. Ayush, you can ask your question.
Ma'am, I also
Lieutenant General Siwatch, we can have you back on the video, please. Lieutenant General Siwatch, can we have you back on the video? Yes.
Okay. Can the first question be asked from the Admiral? I just busy on a TV. Just
Okay, sir.
Certainly,
Ayush,
sir.
whom are you asking the question, Ayush?
Ma'am, I would like to ask the question when Major General is back.
Okay. So, Shreyansh?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Yeah. You can ask your question to Rear Admiral Sanjeev.
Yes. My question was to Honorable Rear Admiral. So, sir, very much appreciate your stance on defense indigenization, especially of the critical technologies. My question is, sir, because Navy has been taking the lead in indigenization right from 1980s to 1990s, and has been ahead of the other two arms of the armed forces. So I just wanted to know what are the factors in your view which are responsible for Navy taking a lead in defense indigenization ahead of the other two arms of the armed forces.
Okay, thank you for your question. Let me answer this in two parts. First part is that yes, the Indian Navy made the start earlier and was for some time ahead of the other two forces in question of indigenization. But of late, I would say the Army and the Air Force have caught up very, very rapidly, and I would compliment these two forces on being at par now. As to why the Navy did it and how it did it, no, there's an old adage which says warships are not bought, they are built. A warship is a little more complex than an individual system. It's like a floating city. You live there, you eat there, you sleep there, your weapons are there, your fuel you're carrying. So in that kind of complexity, what happens is you do not get what you want readily in the market. Either you have to order somebody to build a ship for you, or you build it for your own requirements. And this, I think, somewhere the early leadership of the Navy understood it. What they did was created the Corps of Constructors, naval architects, to which I belong, specifically to undertake design. It was always a dream. It was always the vision of the early leadership that we should build our own ships. And that is how it has progressed over the years. And today I can tell you there's no marine platform that the Indian Navy cannot design. And it's not only the Navy, it has over the year grown in its partnerships with industry, with the shipyards, and the complete ecosystem is there today. We don't really need to go to anybody. But like I said, there may be some odd piece of machinery or a system or an equipment that is not viable to produce in India, or viable to spend money on, or create an infrastructure. So you can buy it. But otherwise, I think if we put our mind to it, or if we are denied something, we can do it. When you talk about Indianization, think about what ISRO has done. Amazing. Or what, for that matter, the atomic energy sector is doing. Some of the things, and that what we call the fast breeder reactor program, etc. They are amazing technologies. It's all happening. So I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Next, you want to ask your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. First of all, good afternoon, sir. So my question is to you, sir. How did you feel when you stepped on the ship on your first operational deployment, commissioned as a young officer, and what was the feeling? And sir, and another question, this is to both our speakers. Then also, what do you wish the civilians should understand about the defense services?
Okay. First of all, it's a sea. Sometimes, what was that? I think George Bernard Shaw said, I can say the sea is sometimes rough. I can say the sea is sometimes nice, but it is not everybody's cup of tea. Yes, but I'll tell you one thing. Being at sea is a real pleasure. There is a whole lot of you, 100, 200 people who are at one single time together. You deploy for 200 days, and the kind of one is, of course, the job that you do. There's a watch system on board. Normally you follow certain watches, certain number of hours by rotation you keep doing, but there are times when there are action stations, so everybody gets on to their job. So there is never a boring moment. There's never a boring moment, and in fact, even sailing on a submarine where you don't even know what is outside, right, and what depth you are unless you see the pressure gauge. That is to me even more exciting, and I've always enjoyed sailing on a submarine. And there are times when in fact, in the olden days, used to probably come up to take fresh air and charge your batteries only in the night, and it's a sight to under a starlit sky, just standing on a bridge of a submarine. Well, it's a feeling that can't be replaced. To answer your second question, that is on how should you see the armed forces?
Yes, how civilians, what the civilians should know about the armed forces.
I tried to tell some of it here, but principally, first thing I think you should know, they're doing a difficult job. They're doing it voluntarily, and they're not doing because they have no other job to go to. Almost without exception, you will find the people who join the armed forces join because they want to join, not because they have landed up with no other jobs. It's very unlikely that a chap who doesn't get anything else will get into the armed forces. Selection requirements are very, very stringent. It is across all parameters. It's not only professional, it is professional, psychological, medical, physical. So it's very difficult sometimes to meet these standards. So the guy who joins really wants to join. That is the first thing you need to understand. He goes through all this, jumping from one station to another in 2 stairs, going to Siwatch somewhere, being posted in some hinterland airport, out at sea for 200 days. He does it all willingly. He's not doing so that you can say thanks to him. There is a sense of duty. And I think that is what I would say most people should understand. All this comes out from an inherent sense of duty. That, I'm doing it for the flag. And I think that is what I would say that civilians must understand. He's not gone there to just make a career.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ayush, you can ask your question to General Siwatch.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity. And good afternoon to Major General and Rear Admiral. And sir, I believe you are the best in position to answer this question. So I believe this will intrigue and enhance the knowledge amongst us. So we all know that about this debate going around in the armed forces about reforms and theater commands. What are your views on it? And Major General Siwatch, we saw the deployment of all the three forces in Eastern Ladakh recently under Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi. So was it a test bid for integration in an operational zone? And if or when theater commands come into existence, what would be the role of paramilitary in this? Because in Kashmir, like the BSF works under the army, so will it work like this when the theater commands are operationalized, or what's your take on this?
First of all, what you asked is, the situation in Ladakh where all three forces have fought together. This is every time. Whenever the war takes place between two nations, the armed forces of that nation fight together. But what happened is that at times that you want to have that coordination, cooperation, seamless, it may not happen. Because there are three commanders which are looking differently. So therefore, a theaterization, what it does is that one single man has all the resources in that area. Not only the army separate, navy separate, air force separate. He has all the three resources, and he then decided what is the best weapon system he should use it that point of time. He can then take a decision through the proper channel. Every resource is available to him at the earliest. There is more coordination, more cooperation, and they have trained together. Now, this is theaterization. Now, take it other way around. When there is no theaterization, if an army, commander wants in a particular area that it wants that air power to be utilized in a particular manner, he has to put across through air channel. It may take more time. It may not be seamless. He is not even understanding or knowing the total capability and limitation of a system. So therefore, that cooperation coordination will be lacking. The future wars are going to be fought together because there is so much technicalities have come into the weapon system, and all over the world, the major defense forces have gone for theaterization rather than building up our own empire of army, air force, and so to get a better result, to get more coordination and cooperation, and to get the best weapon for the best place, one man will be able to decide faster than many, cooks spoil the food. So this is a basic principle, that unity of a command. One single person knows what is the resources available to him, which is the best resources to be utilized. He can take a decision without falling back to other colleague of it. Second thing, the response is faster and the response is better. So therefore, theaterization has to take place in time. Now the question comes, are we prepared for it? It's not that easy. That it's easy said than done. One single person controlling all the resources. Is it easy? Especially with the air power, it is not easy. Because we as a nation do not have so much luxury of air power. So we do not have luxury that we can have air resources for a separate area. One theater, other theater, another theater. Air power or air resources are such that they have to be moved from one theater to another theater because we have limited, and they can be moved in no time. So theaterization has to take that also into consideration. So we have to build up our mindset also. We have to change. Instead of today, we have almost 17 command. It will be reduced to 5 theater command. So slowly and steadily, whatever is the problem of adjusting with each other, we are coming over it. We should not hurry up. Let the time take it and mature this thing. Remember, what will have a maritime command, which will now be looking after the Arabian Sea and also Bay of Bengal. The complete naval resources will be with basically maritime command, and also the air resources in the southern portion, and also the land resources. So therefore, that person, one should be capable also using the resources which are available. His thought process change. You have to train him. So that also has to be done. So my point is, theaterization is a requirement of the day. All the modern world defense forces have gone for it. Be it US, be it China, be it UK, be it Israel even. So having said so, India has to have a theaterization, but there are ground problems. We must resolve it. Take everyone together with us. Then only. So time will take. It will take time, but theaterization will come. And theaterization, keyword is optimizing or utilization of limited resources. Have I answered?
I had a supplementary question that if or when theater commands come into existence, what would be the role of paramilitary in this? Like they are deployed under army in Northern Command. So what would be their place in this?
You know, as far as the paramilitary is concerned, they will become a part and parcel of theater command. In fact, paramilitary not under army command. That is the base. One major problem which is existing. What you are trying to convey, that only in Jammu and Kashmir, when BSF unit is deployed on line of control, they are in operational command of army. But in a peacetime situation, no war, no peace, what is happening in Ladakh, the ITBP is not under defense forces and has this problem. My point is, I must tell everyone, because you are the budding citizen which will be in a key appointment in future. How can there be two agencies looking after the same border? What has happened in April 2020, the reason of this thing happening is also because this ITBP, which is a paramilitary, is under a home ministry. It is not under defense ministry also. So there is coordination is not there. Intelligence is not shared. And hence there is a requirement of all paramilitary forces coming under Ministry of Defense when they are deployed on border area, because otherwise you'll find the same problem occurring which happened in Ladakh, because there is an intelligence failure. One is not passing to other. Remember that paramilitary is answerable to Ministry of Home, and they are not answerable to Ministry of Defense. So why will he able to coordinate with the army? So there is a genuine problem and we need to resolve. I suppose this is. As far as theaterization is concerned, this will take into consideration mainly operational area. So this must be taken. When Army, Air Force, Navy all are coming together, then where is the problem of all the other resources to be under the same man? So it should come. But my point is, I will now in this platform want to tell, there is a requirement of all paramilitary force coming under a Ministry of Defense wherever they are operationally deployed. That's the requirement of the day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Rahul Mandal.
Yeah. So I have two questions. One for Honorable Major General and one for Honorable Rear Admiral. My first question is for Honorable Major General. So, sir, my question is, if a government shows their political will, how will you gain the POK?
See, as far as POK is concerned, remember that POK and Gilgit-Baltistan is a part of it. It is illegally occupied by Pakistan. After the instrument of accession was signed by Maharaja Hari Singh on 26th October, it has become part of us. And we managed to recapture majority of the area, but this POK and Gilgit-Baltistan is left. It should rightfully come back to us. There is, after we have already abrogated Article 370 and 35A, the Jammu and Kashmir is totally integrated like any other state in the Union territory. Now, in time to come, you will find Gilgit-Baltistan and POK has to come as to India. Now, how does it come? Now, first of all, today Jammu and Kashmir is on a path of development. There is infrastructure which is coming. The people are very happy with development which is taking place. Whereas in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, they are almost 50 years behind. Out of 75 years, they are still 50 years behind. There's no park, there's no road, there's no water. The one main river, which was Nilam River, it is also diverted toward Punjab of Pakistan. So today, the people of POK and Gilgit-Baltistan, where China-Pakistan economic corridor is gone, and people feeling they have been exploited not only Pakistan by China, they themselves want to become a part of it. So in time to come, you'll find the wise coming. And let me assure to all of you, the Indian government and Indian defense forces have all contingency made out. In time to come, it will be part of India, because we remember a resolution passed in 1994 in Parliament that these are part of India, must come back. And in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, 25 seats are kept vacant. So I can only tell you this, that the process has already started off. People will themselves will ask for it, and we have all other mechanisms to ensure that in near future you will find POK and Gilgit-Baltistan becoming part of India.
Wow. My next question is for Honorable Rear Admiral. So, sir, my question is, I'm seeing that Indian Navy is focusing more on developing submarines than the warships. And what's the reason for it?
You may be saying submarines because of what you're reading lately, 75 India and all that. But that is not entirely correct. There are a large number of ships in the pipeline and under construction or under procurement, and they far outnumber the submarines. So, but yes, submarines are equally vital, and the kind of Chinese movement and Chinese actions that we have been now seeing in Bay of Bengal, we do require submarines to counter that. So yes, submarines are one very active planning and conservation of the Navy, but the ships outnumber submarines by a very large number. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind.
Kunal Thakur, you wrote in the chat box. Do you want to ask your question? Kunal Thakur.
Yes, I think I saw that question. What Mr. Kunal Thakur wanted to ask was about the shortages in armed forces. Yeah, true, there are shortages. The government has sanctioned a certain number of people, and we are not able to fill those numbers. That is very true, and the reasons are partly because see, I told you, the selection criteria are fairly rigid. On an average, I mean, I can tell you from the various, services selection board or the various other interviews, campus interviews, etc., that we attend. It's 2 out of 10, 2 out of 20. That is the kind of numbers who finally qualify. And because the criteria are spread across many indices, it is not purely professional. I mean, let us say if you join a job at a technical capacity, all he probably will look for is my mark sheet. Okay, distinction student there, very good. And you answer some basic questions and he'll take you on. He will not do your psychological profiling. He will not have a separate IQ test for you. He will not have a physical condition test for you. So when the multiple requirements generally end up in a situation where large number of applicants get eliminated. It's unfortunate, but it can't be avoided. So one of the shortages, one of the reasons is the selection standards. What I see is, and what I think that the candidates who appear or candidates willing to join are very large numbers. There is no shortage of the aspirants. It is the process which, and like I said, I mean, this is not a type of job you want to get somebody into who's not suitable for it. It is going to be difficult for him. It's going to be difficult for the organization. So it's good that compromises are not made, but my sympathies with those who don't make it.
Thank you, sir. And now two of our faculties want to ask questions. Rajat, Abhinav.
Ma'am, there is another student, or I don't know,
Rajat, you can ask
Akansha.
your question.
Ma'am, there is another student, Akansha Bali Raizada, or she is a faculty, I don't know. So she can ask, and then I will ask.
Akansha Bali.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can ask.
Good noon, sir. So we all know we do have a saluting style in the Army and the Navy. But what is the difference in their saluting style, and why is there a difference in their saluting style? Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes, I love that question. General Sivaji, I don't know whether you would like to answer or should I take it?
No, you answer. Otherwise, I can only tell them, you know it better, but then I will, like since you told me, what happened is, in army, saluting system is such that you are showing your complete palm. But in Navy, because most of the officers and sailors, they are working on the ship where a lot of work is to be done manually, and their hands are at times not to the best. They are soiled, and possibly that is the reason as to why they used to keep the palm inside. That's what I feel as far as Navy concerned. Admiral can put across more.
The general has said it, but but yes, I mean that is what the legend goes. Probably it also evolved more as a, while these services are integrated, they also like to compete each other when it comes to sports, when it comes to this thing. So there is some amount of organizational individuality also. It's more to add to the flavor of being together. There is one more reason why probably naval salutes are a little more restrained. There's no thumping of the feet, etc. You can break few things, and you can damage yourself. The alleyways are very narrow. The decks are thin, so if you start saluting like that, you might hurt yourself. You might damage something. So the naval salutes are restrained. But yes, the legend is what the general has said. Your hands are dirty, so you salute like this.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
That's interesting. Rajat, do you want to ask now?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Admiral Sanjeev and General Siwatch. My first question is to General Siwatch, that in the last few years, India has consolidated its position on border with China in terms of infrastructure development and army preparedness. And we are also holding so many rounds of talks with China on border issues. Despite this, China is entangling India on newer border disputes with India. So we know that why China is doing, but my question is when we will able to reclaim our lost lands with China, like Rahul said in terms of POK, and when we will able to reclaim our lost lands.
First of all, what is the land taken by China? One must understand. What one must understand that the boundary between India and China is under a lot of controversy. At places it follow a McMahon line. Earlier, you remember, it was not China; it was Tibet Autonomous Region. And in the early part of 20th century, there was a boundary which was signed between that time British India and the Tibetan Autonomous Region. And the Chinese officials were also in presence. But the Chinese official refused to sign on that backbone. So from the beginning only, you find there is a dispute between two countries, because Tibet Autonomous Region then became a part of China. Then this boundary became between China and India. And we recognize one China policy, and Tibet was recognized a part of China. So as on today, McMahon line is not recognized by China. There are some disputes which are there, which is for basically areas of dispute. But there is a major chunk which is being taken by China in 50s. That is Aksai-Chin area. It is about 38,000 kilometers. So that is Aksai-Chin area has been taken by China when we have not even realized it. Why they have taken it? Because they wanted to make a road this from Xinjiang to Lhasa. They want to connect Tibet Autonomous Region with this Xinjiang area, and that was the only exciting is the only where they can make this road. Otherwise, the train don't come. And we have never gone there. The area was inhospitable, and that area has been taken by them. So this is one area which is there. Just listen me out. I'll be there. And the second thing is also a Saksham Valley. What is that? The area which is being occupied by Pakistan in Gilgit-Baltistan, some portion of that and POK has been given in 1963 by Pakistan to China. So China is today holding 38,000 square kilometers of oxygen and the Saksham Valley also. So these are the two prominent places where you can say these areas must come back. And we are contesting always every time that these are our area. Pakistan, China has illegally occupying that, and they must come. No, this will only be resolved. Either you take by force. Yes. If you are strong enough, take by force. Are we strong enough to take by force? That you have to decide as a nation, or you negotiate with each other. So, as on today, there have been a lot of talks which have taken place between India and China. That is to resolve this border area. And there are almost about 40 to 50 talks have taken place. But still, the resolution is not taken place. Now the question comes in. China has a land dispute with almost 14 countries to start with. But it resolved with 12 countries. There are only 2 countries left, basic. One is India, one is Bhutan. And China is not very keen to resolve it because they want to put indirect pressure on India. So that point also one must be consideration. But certainly the other point is, you have to also understand that China is not only talking about Oxygen and all, it is also telling that the Arunachal Pradesh is a South Tibet. So they are claiming that also. No, therefore, these are the areas of dispute which now emerge. What can be a solution? That should be the way forward. How do we resolve it? In time to come, there may be a possibility of some sort of solution coming. Solution will only come when both are equally strong. If we are weak, no one will negotiate with. As the time is passing by, we are becoming stronger day by day. The gap between India and China is decreasing as far as your northern border from Ladakh to Arunachal is concerned. Remember in earlier days in 62, we have not developed that area thinking that we developed Chinese will come. That was how weak we were. As of today, we are bang on land manufacture control. We have developed our infrastructure. We have built up our capacity in that area. Today, we can look into the eyes of Chinese and we are as strong, almost as strong, and we are becoming stronger day by day. So in future, there are chances of resolution taking place between India and China, in which some sort of solution can be found out. And a solution to me, it looks like is give somewhere, take somewhere. You can't be taking everything and thinking that the Chinese will not, that there will be no solution. When you find an amicable solution, then you have to do give and take. That is possible if you are equally strong. So exciting, then comes your Samdrong-Chung Valley, and then their claim that the complete Arunachal Pradesh is their part of a South Tibet. All these three are the major area of dispute. So discussion will take place. Maybe they agree on something which is Arunachal. This is my just thought process. It's not that India wants everything. But if you can get it, nothing like it, get exciting, get some Samdrong Valley, and Arunachal is as it is part of us. Where is the question of it's going? But in diplomacy, in geostrategic, you have to do give and take, because either you should be so strong that you can launch an attack and take it, which is not possible. So therefore, there may be a chance, and which is not likely to happen very soon. It will take years to gather. Yes, especially China itself is not very keen to resolve, because by not resolving, it keeps you always under pressure. But now they are realizing it. This theory of theirs is not failing, because we have now become equally strong, and we are now threatening them in Indo-Pacific. We are threatening them in Indian Ocean, where we can block the Malacca state. We are now trying to also become stronger day by day. So there can be possibility, and possibility in that will be give and take. Somewhere They have to give it somewhere. We have to give it just to find out some amicable solution.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
My next question is to Sanjeev, sir. Just a short question.
Rajat, we have limited time.
Just
We
a
have
short
three more
question.
people.
Just a short question, ma'am. Only a short question.
Okay.
Sir, you said that DRDO is doing so much R&D work. So is India preparing any missile-capable drone? Because it's the days have gone when you fly your aircraft and bombard the other country. Now it's best possible is attack is drone. So are we preparing missile-capable drones?
I mean, I can answer that very quickly. Yes, definitely. DRDO is India as a country is looking at weaponizing the drones. There is no doubt. It is the logical way to go. When we will have this, time will tell. But I don't think that day is very far off when we'll have an indigenized drone which is weaponized. By weaponized, I mean not just missiles. It can it can probably launch other weapons also.
Thank you, sir.
Shipra, last three questions. Shipra, Dheeraj, and then Shreyans.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
My question is for Rear Admiral Sanjeev. I want to ask you about, sir, what are your views on the idea of compulsory military service, an idea which was suggested by the Indian Parliamentary Committee on Defense in 2018. So I just want to know what are your views on this?
Okay, I'll tell you very briefly, but also it's a very, very personal view. It is not something that gets discussed much within the armed forces. Today, the armed forces is completely voluntary. Completely, entirely voluntary. Nobody can be asked to join armed forces, even in a war scenario, if he has not volunteered for it. There are countries which have this system. Russia has it. I've seen that system very closely. US resorted to it during Vietnam War and the Korean War. But a compulsory military service has only limited advantage, if you ask me. Where your populations are small, like Finland, for example, everybody does military service and they keep doing it by rotation. He gets a break from his regular job, he'll go and man the border or man some checkpost. Those populations are very small. The education standard, the social parameters of the population are more or less at the same level. Everybody is more or less doing the same thing, have the same perspective, have the same idea. So in these kind of scenarios, yes. In a country which is as diverse and as large, more than diverse, I think this size, if you're looking to, let us say, drafting people for 2 years, what numbers are you looking at? 5-6 crores a year? The whole army is just not even 1.5 crores armed forces. So that is the problem. But there is also a flip side to it. I think military service brings in certain some of these things that I spoke about, the ethos, the culture, the team building. It brings in those things into the person because he works in that environment. So will it benefit? It will benefit. So if you ask me, maybe certain select services, civil services, of the Indian, of our country, where we think these qualities are required, perhaps those people can do maybe 2 years or 3 years compulsory service as part, as a part of their training. Maybe, I mean, this is what I feel. Like, let us say somebody joining the police. You saw the newspapers today, isn't it? CBI is being asked to tell whether they're competent or not. I don't want to be in this kind of a situation. I would say the police also had that kind of a culture. They might not be in this situation that the Honorable Court is asking him these questions. So perhaps certain services one can look at. That's what I feel. It will benefit. But on a blanket scale, I don't think the numbers are manageable. Siwatch, perhaps anything from
I will tell you. See, what happened is the countries which requires compulsory military service is where the people are not joining voluntarily in armed forces. Country like India, where there is a one vacancy, there are 1,000 contenders. You don't have to have it. You need the best. You don't have to. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. I headed a territorial army for almost 2.5 years. Majority of you may not be knowing what is territorial army. I tell you now, anyone who is also serving in a private organization or himself having a self-employed can also join Indian Army, just only coming for 2 months in a year. And he is available to his own department for 10 months in a year. And he will be only called in case of emergency and war. Now, this is a territorial army. Now, you will surprised to know Anurag Thakur, who is now a minister, Sachin Pilot, again was a minister in Rajasthan government, are territorial army officers. They have passed it, they have gone SSB, and then they have been selected. There are number of IS officers, there are number of custom officers which are part of this TA fraternity. Now, you will ask me the second question, and there are also a departmental TA like railway TA, railway personnel come. That's why after 74, there have been no strike in India because we have a railway TA. If the strike take place, we will break it, because we have a railway TA, so TA will work. And the railway TA is no one, someone else. People from railway, they are part of TA. Once they wear uniform, they are under army. Same way we have an oil sector TA, this HPCL, BPCL, Indian Oil and ONGC. There was a flash strike in 2013 in Hazira gas plant in Gujarat, which produced 75% of gas. But nothing happened because immediately we sort of combatized our territorial army, and it was, plant was working 24/7. So these are plus points. But what I'm trying to convey something else is, in India, this TA concept is not becoming so practical because all these departments where these chaps are serving, they do not bother about nation. They don't want to leave them even for 2 months. He said, who will work for you for these 2 months? No, this is what it is. And whereas there is an enactment of Parliament of 1948, it is their duty to leave them. Because people in the banks and all, they say, if you go there, who will take care of you? So this nationhood, you understand? As far as India is concerned, it's very difficult. And a country where the population is so large, where you find people who are ready to sacrifice their life because they want to have a job, you don't need people that you have to train everyone. You don't have a capability. I agree with the Admiral. Selected people, IS, IPS and others, IPS of course, they are already in uniform service, who are more to be disciplined. They can be given more exposure to the armed forces, not training, more exposure to the armed forces. Otherwise, not required. On this platform, I want to pass it to other departments. Officers who are in territorial army, give them an opportunity to join the unit at least for 2 months, because not too many departments are giving. They are, when they talk about nation, they talk big, but when it comes to their department, no one is ready to leave them even for 2 months. Now, the second point which someone asked, and Admiral has very rightly replied, there is a shortage of officers and men. As far as men is concerned, there is no shortage. The system is such, we have got so much manpower available in resource in the country. Officer, the point is this. What happened is our selection system is so strict that out of 1,000, it is only not more than 2 to 3% which are selected. And hence, at times, what is our requirement and how the people are selected, there is a gap. So that is how it is taking a shortage in there. Otherwise, it is not that that people don't want to join as an officer. For one vacancy, there are 100 people who are waiting for it. Country like India, people are voluntary. People want to join. People want to join and defend the nation. So that is the point. And your next question should be, that's why don't you lower down your standard? Let people come more. That is not possible. In war, there are no runners up. You can either win or you lose the war. So imagine the psychology has to be taken. This testing system in armed forces all over the world is so strict that the best of the best who may get selected in IS and IPS may not get selected in defense forces because requirement is. So having said so, I can only say to all of you that Indian Armed Forces is one of the best. We are selecting the best which is available in the environment so that they can protect the nation. And the pride of the nation is the defense forces. Like my question was asked from the Admiral also. The economy and the military are the two sides of the coin. If you want the economy to do well, be militarily strong. Otherwise, economically, you can't do. And same way, if you want to be militarily strong, economically, you have to be competent enough to take care of them. So they are intervened. And that's how a country which economically becomes stronger, their military also becomes stronger. Otherwise, they have no choice. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dheeraj, you can ask your question.
Thank you, ma'am. If there is a time constraint, ma'am, I can let it pass, and we can because
it's 10 to 1, and we need to wind up by 1. Shreyansh, let me ask the student if he wants to ask. So, Shreyansh,
Yes,
if you want to ask quickly, beta, 10 minutes.
okay, sir. Okay. So, sir, like you know that India is keeping a close watch on the ties between Taliban and Pakistan. So, sir, why do so many news channels exaggerating this fact that India is not keeping up with the Taliban forces? Because even like Indian delegates are going to meet, are going there to meet. They are conducting the Doha talks and everything. So why is there so much criticism on news channels that India is not doing enough on the terror issues?
No, the point what you are trying to convey is have we opened our channel with the Taliban? That is the main issue. While we were discussing this, I had a phono which I have to give to News 18. This was the discussion which was going on there. But the fact today we must understand is Indian government is aware of all the diplomacy. Remember, in last about 5 to 6 months, the back channel diplomacy has already opened a door with India with the Taliban. We were in constant touch. Now the question comes is, what is the latest situation? The fact today is we want to engage with Taliban. Our interests are involved, are very huge in Afghanistan. We are the only country we invested $3 billion there. Our Chabar project is there. Our people are stuck. But that not necessarily that we recognize them. The recognition will only come as to what sort of government they form. If the government is inclusive, which is having all the stakeholders, it is only not Muslim specific. It has got Tajik, Hazara, and Uzbek. It also have other stakeholders with them. So, and how do they perform? So we will wait and watch. If you make a mistake of recognizing a country and then you realize it that you should not have done, then you can't come back. So the point is, a wait and watch policy is the best thing. But that does not mean we are not alive to the problem. Our Prime Minister is talking to all the stakeholders like President of Russia. Our Foreign Minister is going to Iran. These are the two countries where we can align, our interests match with each other. We can't align with Pakistan. Pakistan wants two things. Taliban to come into the power in Afghanistan, and India should not have any rule. As far as China is concerned, China is coming in a big way there. So therefore, we have wait and watch policy does not mean close your eyes. See the situation, be relevant, keep your back channel diplomacy open, and ensure that Afghanistan is not utilized for anti-Indian activities and terrorism, which is bound to happen, but we have to ensure that. So I am sure our Afghan policy is very, very relevant. It is dynamic, and it will keep on amending as the situation unfolds in Afghanistan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure hearing both of you. And as the topic of our event goes, all our forces are our pride, and that is why we wanted to have a session on Army and Naval and maybe Air Force also. And it is true, and everybody will agree that we all civilians feel very safe in our houses and in our cities because our forces are there on the border, safeguarding the country as well as safeguarding all the civilians. Thank you so much. And now I would request Dheeraj to formally present the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I, on behalf of Delhi School of Journalism, would like to extend my sincere gratitude and thanks to both our invited guests, Honorable Major General Siwatch sir and Honorable Rear Admiral Sanjeev Srivastava sir. Sir, your enlightening presentations have been immensely inspiring for the students and teachers alike. And I would also like to thank Professor J.P. Dubey, the Honorable Director of our institute, and Dr. Manaswini M. Yogi for their efforts in organizing this event. And also the students volunteers team who were till the very last moment available with their efforts for the successful organization of the event. I'm sure the way you have explained, General Siwatch sir and Rear Admiral Sanjeev Srivastava sir, you have explained everything in a way which is really exemplary, and it's especially about the Chinese aggression case, Siwatch sir. It was really, there was a lot to know for all of us. I'm sure the learnings drawn and the valuable insights gained today about the values, strengths, discipline, and strong ethics of the Indian Armed Forces will go a long way with our students and will always remain imprinted on their minds and their subconscious. Your immense knowledge and experience will always serve as a guiding light for all students and teachers. We hope to have your continued support and patronage in future as well, sir. Thank you very much for taking time out for this event. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Salute you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All the best and take care.
Professor Dubey is not going to speak because he is traveling, but he has been with us. He was
sorry, I can't take mask out because I'm driving. I'm not driving, but I'm in the movement. So quickly, I pay my respect to both Honorable Major General and Rear Admiral, that they have made it fabulous, and it was very exciting. I kept on hearing, and it has been wonderful. And in physical form, we will be very quickly for any opportunity to have both of you at Delhi School of Journalism. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All the best and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Dubey. Thank you, Dr. Manaswini and Dr. Dheeraj. And to the students, all the very best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, all the faculty and students. And the classes will go on from 1:30 after lunch, and the 11:20 class will resume at 2:40 for people who are free at 2:40. And the fifth semester who is not free at 2:40, your classes will be compensated by the teachers as per the time schedule in the next week. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
We meet again for another webinar on 8th September at 4 p.m., which will be on the Indian broadcast journey. We'll have some eminent people there too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.